Hey guys, what's up? I was asking about a few people to go more in detail about my training routine, and it is a very simple one to be honest. I do a upper lower body split. In this video, I'm going to be showing and talking about more in detail about my upper body training. And one day I do upper body exercise, another day I do lower body exercises. It tends to be around between 4 and 6 workouts per week. So I'm going to be repeating these workouts 2 to 3 times per week, or sometimes it's not a very, I don't have like a set days for trainings because my gym opens every single day. So even if I miss like a training on Monday, I can do like Saturday or Sunday. Like I can literally go to the gym every single day of the week. It's always open there. So for me it's very like easy to just change, or like have my rest day being any day of the week that I want to. It just depends. Like I don't have like a very set schedule for training, and I just do very simple exercise. I've done a lot of training over the years. Most of the time, I did a push-pull leg split, and over the years, after trying so much stuff, I did bro splits, I did push-pull legs, I did like the other types of training. I did different types of splits over the years, different types of exercises of different things in training. Trainings in which I try to do more exercises, more sets. Training in which I did more drop sets, biceps. I mean, I did pretty much like everything that you can imagine training wise over the years. And what I'm doing right now, just in my opinion, it feels like it is the most optimal way to train, in my opinion, over like from just evaluating everything that I did over the years. And to summarize it, it's pretty much like simplified training tended to be more optimal for me. Like I tried to do more exercises for like some years ago. Try to do like, let's say, a chest day. You go to the gym, you do a lot of exercises for the chest. You do like 5 exercises for the chest. You include even drop sets, biceps. Just try to get a pump. Try to get like a lot of blood flowing there. And I felt like that was not very optimal in the long term. Like in the first year of training, that's one thing, because in the first year of training, you can build muscle easily. But after you stall and you cannot progress anymore, you need to try different things. And for me, was pretty much this. Higher frequency tends to be work better for me than higher volume. So my training for upper body, it's pretty much focused on the most compound basic movements, and I tend to try to do them as often as possible, which tends to be between 2 to 3 times per week. Usually the optimal is like 3 times per week, which is why my volume in the training, why I don't spend much time at the gym. My training usually tends to last right now less than an hour, because I want to repeat this training several times per week. So if I train to like do too much of a higher volume in one training section, I won't be able to repeat it as often. And I felt that many of the time that I was wasting back then at the gym, like when I was training like 2 hours there, trying to do too many exercises, it wasn't really make that much difference, to be honest. Like there's a point at the gym where you're training and you're not getting anything out of it. You know, you're not like, it's not like the more you do at the gym equals more equally. You know, there's a after a certain point of set that you have already done, making more doesn't really make that much difference. It might make like 0.1% difference, but that's like so minimal that you're not gonna really see it in gains wise. You know, you're not gonna see like it's just not gonna translate well into hypertrophy. So my training routine, what do? I do 3 sets of bench press. Usually, like I like to stay between 4 to 6 reps. In the footage that I'm gonna be showing here, I was doing 3 sets of 6 with 115 kilograms, and it was not sets to complete failure. See, because if it was to complete failure, if I was like had failed, when I do like a set to really failure, you won't be able to do 2 more sets in the training section with the same range of reps. Usually that doesn't happen. So I did 3 sets of 6. Maybe in the last one I might have come close to failure, but I had some reps in reserve in the first sets. And usually, if you do a set to absolute failure, just do like one. Probably till the next sets, you're gonna lose some reps. You won't be able to stay in the same rep range there. You're gonna end up like losing some strength over time. And this is just something that I periodize over time. I don't train to failure every single training session. I just usually start with a lighter weight or training, or like a weight which I have some reps in reserve, and I go in by each training day. I increase the weight a little bit more and more until eventually I'm gonna reach failure. And if I cannot do like 4 reps on the set, then that means like I'm using too much weight and I'm not ready for it. I just go drop down the weight and restart the process. You know, always trying to increase the weight, increase the reps. But for the bench press, I usually like to keep it between 4 and 6 reps. If I do much more than 6 reps, if I go like 8 or more, usually means I need to increase the weight more, increase more than I'm usually increasing between each workout. But you can also do incline bench press. I just right now The three backs exercise for the chest that I usually put two in my workout is gonna be flat bench press, incline bench press with the barbell, and dips. Right now I'm just doing flat bench press with barbell and dips. The first one flat bench press. Second exercise I do 3 sets of 8 of chin ups. In this training, in this footage of this training, I was doing with 15 kilograms plus my body weight. I was not set to failure. It's the same thing that I do with the pretty much like what I do the same thing with each exercise. I start with like a lighter weight, and I do like let's say in chin ups like I my rep range is higher. It's between usually 4 and 8. I do 3 sets of 8 with a lighter weight. Then I increase to 8 by each workout. Eventually, when I like usually I try to keep it between three sets of 8. But as I increase to weight more, there's gonna reach a point where I'm gonna end up failing. The set to failure might come at first in the third set, and then it might go to the second set or even the first set. And at one point, I want to be able to do more sets of 8. The weight's gonna be too heavy for me to keep that same reps, so I'm gonna have to decrease the reps to like 6 or 4. And then I just restart the process. Like I just increase the weight until I cannot do it a good amount of reps. Then I drop down to weight, and I just keep repeating this process. After chin-ups, I do dips. With the dips, I felt that doing a heavier weight, and when I say heavy weight, is not like a specific amount of weight that counts for everyone. Heavy weight for me is like a weight which you can only do 4 to 6 reps. And then if you do like if it's a weight which you cannot do like between 1 to 4 reps, I would call it very heavy. 4 to 6 is like heavy. 6 to 10 moderate. 10 to 15 light. Over 15 reps, it's very light. Let's say 40 dips. I felt that when I was doing heavy weight, which would be like between 4 and 6 reps, I started feeling some pain in between my chest and my front deltoid. So because of that, I just decided to do more a higher rep. I decided to do dips with a high to lightweight. Since I'm using lightweight, I have to do more reps. So I tried to do 3 sets of 15, and then I was increasing more weight, but I try to not drop it down to less than 10 reps. So usually dips, I do 3 sets of between 10 or 15 reps. It depends on the weight that I'm using. For the last exercise, which is you guys see that I do like one chest exercise, then one back exercise, then go back to one chest exercise. Because if I try to do like 2 chest exercises or 2 back exercises in a row, the second exercise I won't be able to perform it so well. And so I'd like to rest like some muscle groups by doing another exercise that they're not involved. So usually that's how I do it. I like do one chest exercise, one back, and then just go back and forth like this. And then last exercise for the back would be, fuck, I don't know how to call this in English. Like you only know in Portuguese. It's like a row variation, but you do in the cable, and I do like one arm at a time, and 3 sets of to failure pretty much. Like this one, I usually don't care much about the rep. In this one, I usually try to do it like between 6 and 10. Usually that's a good one. So 4 exercises. That's usually what I do in most of my upper body routine. It is not much. I usually try to rest between the sets as much as I can. Like in the bench press, I usually at least 3 minutes. If I'm going to failure, it might go even higher. I might rest between like maybe 4 or 5 minutes if the sets are very close to failure. So even though it's a short workout, because like the amount of sets that I'm doing is not very high, it's not much time I'm doing now. But since the rest time between each sets it's high, it's between like 3 to 5 minutes. I actually spend like not as little time in the gym because you might think, oh, he's only doing 12 sets at the gym. So he must spend like the workout should be done in like 30 minutes. Well, not because I rest a lot between the sets because I want to like really have a lot of intensity between the sets, so I have to rest like well enough between the sets. Usually these 4 exercises are the main ones for my upper body. Then sometimes after these 4 exercises, I do maybe some crunches with the rope just for my abs, do some exercise for the obliques. Sometimes I do overhead press machine at the end just for like a little more work in the shoulder. Sometimes I might do some curls at the end, but usually I just do like 2 sets of those other exercises. And I like one day I might do abs, the exercise for the abs, crunches with the rope and obliques. The other day I might do this overhead press machine with curls. But usually the main thing about my upper body training is just these 4 exercises: bench press, chin ups, dips, and a row variation. This cable row variation that I'm doing there. and it's a pretty simple workout. I do this, like I said, 2 to 3 times per week, pretty much like every other day. I almost end up doing it. Increase There is a periodization that I do, which I tend to like increase to weight by each workout until the point where I cannot increase it anymore. Then I do like a deload, which you just decrease the weight, just let your body rest. You know, I had more results just doing a lower daily volume, but if you see like the weekly volume is actually like I would say like moderate to high, because you have to take in account that I'm doing this 3 times per week some days. So let's say for chest, I'm doing 6 sets of chest, like in this workout per day. So it's not much for a single day, but if you take consideration that I'm doing this 3 times per week, it's 18 sets per week. So it's actually a good number overall. I just had more results by doing lower volume, higher frequency workouts. And some people might say, oh, you don't do much for your arms. Technically, I do, because chin ups and dips, they do work the biceps and the triceps by a lot, actually. I just feel like they are better overall. I just focus more on the compound movements because they already work out everything. Bench press already works the shoulder, chest, and triceps. Chin ups work, shoulders as well. The rear delts, they're going to be working there. Biceps and back. So they work pretty much like everything. I prefer to just do like a few exercises that pretty much like get out the muscle groups that I want, and that's pretty much it. I feel like this is a very simple workout that can be done by most people at the gyms, and I feel like it's very effective overall. And people, really beginners, should really just, not just beginners, but even most people at the gym, they should just focus on the basic exercises and they work. They don't have to really overcomplicate things by doing many more exercises or more machines. Like I try to not use many machines until like usually a reason when I decide to use a machine. But usually like free weights or body weight exercise tend to be best overall for me.